Comic Boom.
Hey guys, Comic Boom here to review Superman issue 18, where he reveals his secret identity to the world. Let's all sit back and read Superman give a press conference to the world's media to tell them that he's really Clark Kent. Now, what narrative purpose does this serve? Honestly, after reading issue 18, I really have no idea. As a matter of fact, on the final page of issue 18, it actually says, "Now what?" And that's a very good question, because after reading this issue, I also ask, now what? I'm also tempted to ask, who cares? And what's the big deal? I guess maybe that's why Brian Bendis wanted to write a story where Superman reveals his secret identity to the world, because Brian Bendis doesn't care about the secret identity of the world. I'm not sure, but let's get in story here, because why would Superman want to reveal his secret identity to the world? And it ends up that apparently Adam Strange. Who? Adam Strange. You know, that really popular character that Tom King's going to be writing about? Adam Strange, you know. Oh, you don't know? You've never heard of Adam Strange? Or you have, but yeah. Well, apparently he's really close. Superman confides in Adam Strange. And he talks to Adam Strange. And Adam Strange, he's so stupid that Adam Strange actually asks Superman if his secret identity is Batman. Because apparently Adam Strange has never seen Batman and Superman fight alongside each other before. So Adam Strange asks the serious question of Superman, are you really Batman? That's just a piece of the bad writing in this issue. Look, however you feel about Superman revealing his secret identity to the world, it does have storytelling potential. There are obviously there's different storylines you can explore with a Superman revealing himself as Clark Kent and with the world knowing as Clark Kent. How is Lex Luthor going to react? How are the villains going to react? How are the friends and the family and the Justice League members, how are they all going to react? I mean, there's storytelling potential here for the DC Universe titles. I mean, it's obvious that there's potential diverse, different storylines that can be drawn. But I want to focus on the story in terms of, doesn't make sense in terms of how this has come about, because it flashes back, it shows Superman at the press conference, and then flashes back with Superman talking to Adam Strange while he was still in space and still during that whole Unity Day talking to Adam Strange. This is after his father Jor-El has been executed for crimes of apparently illegal time travel, leaving aside the fact that the Legion of Superheroes time travel all the time, but Jor-El was the only one that's ever been executed for it, apparently. But in any event, Superman confides in Adam Strange after Unity Day, and he lets Adam Strange know that he's thinking about revealing him, that he lets Adam Strange know that he's got a secret identity, and Adam Strange seems really profoundly disturbed by that. It's like, you got to be kidding me. You have a desk job? And Adam Strange was just joking. Yeah, he's got a desk job. And it's like, desk job? Desk job. You know, it's the usual sort of Bendis friends dialogue here. Well, again, everybody sounds the same. Again, really terrible dialogue. You really got to get used to the Bendis speak. It doesn't work, doesn't flow well. And Adam Strange comes across like a complete moron, a complete idiot. Adam Strange's idiocy isn't helped by the art. Ivan Reis is a great artist, but boy, he draws Superman like a wuss, and he draws Adam Strange like a moron. Actually, it's bad enough that they sound they're given dialogue, that they're given the dialogues of morons, but they actually are drawn to look stupid as well. That's not helpful. When the art complements the dialogue in that manner, it really hurts the story, and that's the sad part here. But I mean, that's part of the infestation of the whole Bendis thing. Getting too much into a Bendis story is probably a bad thing for an artist, as Event Leviathan clearly showed. Not to mention everything else Bendis has written here. Don't even get me started on Young Justice, and oh my God. In any event, so Adam Strange tells Superman, actually Adam Strange doesn't tell Superman really anything. He doesn't tell him anything. He doesn't give him any advice. Superman is just reflecting and talking to a random stranger that he just met, Adam Strange, that he knows for maybe he knows very little about, and just he's contemplating revealing himself because I guess Superman never really does explain his logic. I guess he's wondering what's the point of having a secret identity. Now, to really understand why Bendis is doing this, you actually have to go to a Bendis interview, because Bendis does a terrible job in this issue to explain why Superman wants to reveal his secret identity. And the actual point is that Superman doesn't feel it's a point anymore. There's any point to have a secret identity, because it's causing problems in his social life. The world media has caught Lois Lane kissing Superman. Lois Lane is married to Clark Kent. Of course, Lois Lane and Clark Kent have a son, a 10-year-old son. They've yet to explain to the world how they have a 17-year-old son flying around, and where their 10-year-old son has disappeared to. So there's gossip. There's the paparazzi following them around, calling Lois Lane a two-timer because she's cheating on Clark with Superman. But also the fact that their son is in the 30th century now, or 31st century. All the members of the Justice League know his secret identity. A lot of his friends that he has as Clark Kent, they're the same friends he has as Superman. So Clark Kent's friends with Jimmy Olsen, Perry White, all the people of the planet. Well, Superman is friends with all of them too. So he thinks to himself, what's the point of having a secret identity? Why be two people? Why be Clark Kent and Superman? Why can't I just be both so I don't need the headache anymore? I don't have to worry about it. That's really the logic there. Now, as simple as that was for me to basically explain that, Bendis does such a terrible job in this issue getting to the point. It's awful. It's painful reading. And right off the bat, his conversation with Adam Strange, people are going to wonder, who the hell is Adam Strange? Why is he in this comic book? And I got to wonder that too. I'm insulted that he would have that conversation immediately and straight up with Adam Strange. It's not something that Superman would do. He wouldn't have it with Adam Strange. If he was going to have a conversation about a secret identity, he would likely have it with either Batman or Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is someone that at one point in time contemplated a secret identity. She's about truth. Wonder Woman rides that sort of delicate balance where at one point she had a secret identity, at least in the Allen Heinberg years, and she also embodies truth. So if you want to talk to somebody about the interplay between truth and deception, one would think he would talk to Wonder Woman about it. Or even show the dialogue and conversation between Clark and Lois, which Bendis did not do. Now, granted, Bendis does a terrible job writing Lois Lane, he always has, but still that's a conversation that we should be privy to with his wife. Of course, Clark did have that conversation with Lois last issue, but we were not privy to it because Bendis thought it was more important that he flies Supergirl off to New Krypton and have a conversation with Supergirl, and in fact, we never see that conversation either. So Bendis is all about flying Superman off to different places where he's teasing and about to have a conversation, but we never actually see the conversation take place. This is terrible. Also in this issue, we see Superman or Clark Kent tell Perry White that he's Superman. That the artist Ivan Reis conveys that in a nice page with about 8 or 9 panels on it. That's nice. No words are said, which is good, because any page of beautiful Ivan Reis art without Bendis dialogue, I will happily take, because we all know that Bendis dialogue generally tends to poison a page and the telling of a story. It doesn't advance it. And that's very, very telling here, and I can't emphasize this enough. The best pages in this issue are the ones where there is no dialogue on the page. There is also a page where Superman talks to Jimmy Olsen. And unfortunately, there is dialogue on that page, and it is revealed, of course, once we get through the Bendis speak, that Jimmy already knew that Clark Kent was Superman, because Lois, bitch wife that she is for Superman, decides to violate her husband's trust and take it upon herself to call Jimmy, and who is his best friend, and to tell Jimmy herself. So taking the wind right out of her husband Clark's sails, she does that. Reflecting again how much Bendis doesn't have a clue how to write a healthy relationship between Lois and Clark, yet purports to think he does. We always have to look to Greg Rucka to understand the Lois-Clark Kent relationship, and Rucka is doing a very good job over in Lois Lane. I loved issue 6 of Lois Lane, where where Lois Lane dealt with the death of her father, Sam Lane. I thought that was a beautifully illustrated issue by Mike Perkins. I love the art. I love the emotion that he conveyed. I love the funeral. And Greg Rucka gets Lois Lane. And just as bad as Brian Michael Bendis writes Lois Lane, Greg Rucka writes her very well. But again, back to this issue. Superman speaks to Adam Strange. Adam Strange thinks that he should, asks him if he's Batman, if his secret identity is Batman. Can't believe that Superman has a desk job. Unfortunately, what Bendis doesn't understand and where Bendis really gets it wrong is he never writes anything where Superman actually gets any good advice, any meaningful advice. And we don't really get anything out of it. We don't even get really into Superman's head other than just Superman sounding very much like a moron and an idiot. And Superman doesn't really reason things very well. And this is not a very well plotted or structured issue, and it really misses the mark. When he talks, it's juxtaposed between the scenes of him talking to the media. He's talking to Adam Strange, and then he's talking to, then it shows him revealing himself to Perry White, and then he's got a completely pointless and useless conversation with Lois Lane, reveals nothing. He talks to Jimmy Olsen, where it's discovered that Lois Lane once again betrayed Clark's trust by speaking directly to Jimmy. This Superman is a spineless beta male, and I just really wish just a little bit, there would be a little bit of testosterone shown in the private life of Superman. I mean, where's the guy that can kick butt, in action scenes? Why can't he show a little bit of manliness, a little bit of pride and manliness in his relationship? Because, Lois needs to be clued in here, and she needs to be clued in a significant manner. And also, with the events, with what's going on in Event Leviathan, Superman revealing his secret identity right now is a highly suspect, questionable thing for him to do. And certainly in the midst of Year of the Villain, we have a scene here where Lex Luthor as the apex villain, as the apex predator, he's there amongst with the members of the Legion of Doom, and he sees Superman reveal his secret identity as Clark Kent, and then Brainiac turns to Lex Luthor and says, "Hey Luthor, how did you not know about this? How did you not anticipate this?" And then suddenly Apex Luthor changes into ordinary Luthor, which again doesn't make any sense. It shows that Bendis is once again disrespecting continuity. He's not read Scott Snyder's Justice League because Lex Luthor doesn't change back in. He's completely subsumed in his Apex Predator, Apex Luthor identity. He's not going to change back into business attire Lex Luthor, but Bendis forces that to happen in this issue because he wants to somehow pretend that Year of the Villain hasn't happened. He wants to somehow pretend that Scott Snyder's run hasn't happened. In other words, Bendis wants to pretend that nothing else is going on in the DC universe except whatever he imagines. That's why, among many other things, why this story fails and why it's going to continue to fail. It doesn't work. Now, having said that, can there be lipstick put on this pig of a terrible opening issue? Sure, because there is storytelling potential, and it's storytelling potential that will have to be explored by other writers. I would love to see a Greg Rucka's tale about Lois Lane dealing with the ramifications of the world knowing that she's married to Clark Kent / Superman. That would be great. Let Greg Rucka write it. Hopefully we'll see more of that in Lois Lane. I would love to see, as a matter of fact, even a Tom King explored in a one-issue annual one-shot. I would love to see Tom Taylor explore it. That would be really good. I would love to see Tinian the Fourth right on that. I would love to see Snyder even touch upon it in Justice League, which, by the way, the continuity doesn't add up to the Justice League, because if Superman's revealed his identity to the world, you'd think by now that, because given the timeline of what's going on in the Justice League, it doesn't make sense that the world doesn't know that that Clark Kent is Superman, and in issue 37 of Justice League is what we're currently at. So things do not sync up. They do not line up. That's just the way it is. But again, now, here's where this might work in the long run, all right? The lipstick on the pig, the silver lining in this very dark cloud, is the fact that because Bendis ignores every other single issue in every other thing in the DC universe, because he ignores it, this can arguably be something that takes place just in Superman, because Bendis really is ignoring it. He doesn't care what's going on. He doesn't care. And let's face it, he doesn't even care what's happening in his own comic book. I mean, he even has Adam Strange at one point make a comment that Jor-El, Superman's father, was worse than his father. And again, I say again, what did Jor-El really do wrong? What did Jor-El do wrong? They executed Jor-El for what? Time travel? Jor-El traveled back in time after trying to save Krypton. He exposed the Circle. He was a member of the Circle, but he tried to expose it. Why is Jor-El worse than Adam Strange's father? And why would Adam Strange even make that comment? Who is Adam Strange's father? I don't know. Do I care? Of course not. Who's Adam Strange? I don't know. I forget. But apparently he's someone that Superman confides in. Thanks, Bendis. Good grief. There are so many missed opportunities here of all the ways that I imagined Superman coming out and revealing himself to his secret identity to the world. And Batman, Wonder Woman, not a single member of the Justice League is around, but they see him on the news reveal it. It's really sad and it's pathetic and it misses the boat. And it really shows how profoundly deficient Bendis' conception is of the DC Universe. He does not understand Superman. He doesn't know Superman's world. He doesn't know Superman's friendships. He really, truly doesn't. He doesn't understand the dynamics of the members of the Justice League. And he clearly hasn't spoken to Snyder. He clearly hasn't done his homework. And it's sad, and it shows, and it's pathetic. And I'm so disappointed. I got to give this story-wise, man, I got to give this a 2 out of 10. This is so disappointing. Completely misses the boat. Guys, you can let me know what you think. You're not going to change my mind, no, I tell you that. This is, again, this is a really disappointing issue. This is going to be a decompression nightmare. Again, it ends with the question being asked, now what, on the final page? I don't care. Who cares? I mean, Superman revealing himself, who cares? Why would any villain care? You think a villain's going to change his mind to rob a bank because Superman reveals himself as being a loser reporter for the Planet who's a beta male emasculated by his wife, Lois Lane? Come on. Like, this is nonsense. But whatever, you gotta swallow that. You gotta swallow that in order to buy this. But I could go on this, but I'm not. I'm just going to cut this video short and leave it for what it is. Tell me what you think. What do you think of the truth? And I've told you my truth, right? And do you care that Superman has now revealed himself to the world? Frankly, with Superman now being a bigger loser now than he was before under Bendis, now that he's revealed that he's so much of a loser that he can't even handle having a secret identity. He's already lost his son to the future. He's let his wife emasculate him, and he lets himself be bossed around and told what to do. It's really, really kind of pathetic. Wow. Woke Superman no longer has a secret identity. Boom, right? Tell me what you think. Follow me on Twitter at Metropolis40. Until next time, Comic Boom out.